the reality of planting food forests. This isn't a perfect landscaped project. This is a guy in his 20s who wanted to free himself from grocery stores and doesn't have the capacity to plant annuals every year because of all the work involved and the fact that when you live in the subtropics, you need to do a lot of keeping, of protecting from insects and everything else that exists in the subtropics. So what I'd like to do in this video is really just ease everyone's minds. I think we've all been there. We bought a plant, a tree, and you put it in the ground. Ideally, you did it in July. This is peak time, right? Anytime after that, if you're in the tropics, subtropics, in Central America, for us, that's when the rainy season. It's been a month. The soil's saturated. Any excessive rain that's running off, topsoil or whatever's happening, landslides, that's all past. And the soil is in a good place to take on baby trees and let their roots establish for that first year. This is a huge deal. If your roots aren't established, then when the dry season comes, you're going to have a bad time because you have to irrigate constantly. Now, for first year plants, I always recommend doing that. But the sake of this video is to talk about some trees that you can kind of take a step back. You can invite them into your property for their beauty, for their resilience, and for their fruit and functionality. So the first one I want to talk to you about is this loquat. It's a bit harder to find loquat here in Central America. In Guatemala, this is where these seeds came from. It's called níspero. And if you live in Central America, you know that everyone calls everything níspero. This loquat is not irrigated. This guy is doing just fine. Everything else in the food forest, for the most part, is irrigated. But there are a few trees that I'm going to talk to you about that aren't, and that's what we're going to focus on. Because this looks beautiful, and when this loquat develops and becomes a giant tree and gives its beautiful orange flush, you're gonna want something like this in the front of your house. So what are we getting at? Would you plant something that's a bit more sensitive and requires more attention in those areas, or in full sun, right? Full sun will smoke certain plants. Others will thrive in it, right? So let's take a moment to talk about some of the other varieties. I'm going to walk over to another one. So I've been away from this channel for a while, but in a previous video, I talked about the caimito. The caimito is amazing. This is such a wonderful, beautiful looking plant. And what I love most about this little guy is the resilience. Notice, no irrigation here as well. I planted this caimito from seed because I ate a fruit and enjoyed it and brought home 20 or 30 seeds. This is the only one that survived. Another reality of this endeavor, and it's okay. But the thing about a caimito, I've seen these as landscaping plants. They're wonderful, all right? And keep in mind, this guy's still making leaves right now. And when he makes new leaves, they're this beautiful, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a silver glaze. But now let's walk over to this. So this is a yellow caimito. They also call it an api. I'm probably saying all these names wrong, and that's okay. You probably are too. This little guy, notice what happened here. Not that resilient, right? So I missed a week of irrigation, and this is what happens. So if somebody is not accustomed to this process, buys an expensive tree like this. Thankfully, I brought these seeds from Peru after staying in a place and eating the delicious fruit, the one that I had a hard time finding, because I've known about this guy, but not always easy to find them. Now, suppose you go and buy this tree at a nursery, you bring it back, you plant it, again, ideally in July, right? That's a big deal. And you don't irrigate that first year, and this happens. It can feel bad, and maybe you won't be as excited about doing this in the same way, right? So first year kind of stuff, we want to grow what works and go easy on ourselves. All right, since we're still talking about things that are planted from seed, because that's what I've done for the most part, let's talk about the moringa. So this moringa, it's only a year old. And what's amazing about moringa is its resilience and its nutrient density and its beneficial properties, and the fact that you can coppice it constantly. You can cut them back and they'll grow stronger. Their roots are so incredibly profoundly deep, and their access to nutrients is invaluable. So when this guy, who's 3 years old, also planted from seed, when his top came off and is now nurturing So that doesn't look good. You see, I should go there with a machete and chop all that down. But I haven't, because I'm me, one guy in a 5-acre food forest, and there are 10 things going on simultaneously. And that's okay. This is why we don't grow annuals here. This is why in the dry season, the goal is make sure everything gets water and can survive and thrive until the rains come. So I know it might look cloudy, but we're still in the dry season and it's not gonna rain. She's a temptress. All right, we're about to talk about this yellow cashew, but look at this wonderful art piece that I had completed this year, and the puppies. Right here, this is a yellow cashew tree. So there's the yellow and the red. All right, now this yellow cashew I planted from seed. Look at it. This is 3 years old. All right, the yellow cashew is one of those resilient ones. This little guy, he's not so little anymore, and he's got some fruits up there. He started fruiting last year, so it's about 2.5 years for them to fruit. Yellow cashew, another incredibly resilient plant. Not only do they look great, so when they send off new leaves, that happens. Or if they're just covered in flowers all dry season, trying to make a few cashews in their early years, that's okay, because they look wonderful, and soon they'll provide. And their leaves are also incredibly medicinal. I'll let you go into that. I made another video on this subject, but cashew leaf tea might be the solution to your toothaches and other things. All right, resilience. Talk about resilience. This is a cinnamon tree. So I know there's two kinds of cinnamon. This is not true cinnamon, right? Based on the varieties that we get here, it's not. I can't recall the names of them all, but this is another one, not set up to irrigation. This guy is 3, nearly 4 years old. You see what's happening here? There's a rhythm. All right, most people, and the thing that really bothers me about landscaping, most people focus on species varieties that don't give back anything. And maybe it's okay because you love the flowers or you love the way it looks. But what we can integrate into our homes, into our gardens, into our projects is more edible wonders, right? So at this point, I can go in, harvest a branch, right? You see that little, maybe you don't, and dry some of the inner bark to get cinnamon. Now, I'm not necessarily here for that. I just love the wonder of this tree, but I want to give you kind of a bit more hope in the direction of get the things that don't require as much input and that can thrive. All right, now in that first year, and this guy could definitely use a lot more mulch, there was a lot more mulch here. There's a reason why we grow bananas, because that guy right there should be underneath a lot of these trees. Well, again, more things to do. This is why we don't plant annuals, because if you want a food forest that requires less input, we need to focus on what matters. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. This is a humble take. This is a reality take, because this process isn't easy. It's not fast, and it's not always going to look like all the videos that I've seen on YouTube. And it might be a big reason why you might not be sharing what your forest looks like, because it doesn't look like a forest yet. A lot of these, like this world fruit here, again, 4 years old. I've been at this for a long time, and we always see projects where people are showing off a mature setup, but the reality is that that first year, it's not going to look great. And when the dry season comes and it looks like everything's dry and the mulch that you put down all throughout the wet season and throughout the year has decomposed because the microbacterial activity in the soil is so rich and fast, and rain accelerates decomposition. And then everything else that's involved in this, we just have to go easy on ourselves. And we have to remember that that first year, we want some positive reinforcements. We want some good feedback. And if we can focus on the things that will just work that first year, then we can go a lot easier on ourselves. So I have lost a lot of trees as well. My success rate here for a long time wasn't that great. And like right behind me, this is a 2-3-year-old cacao. Alongside this cacao, I planted probably maybe 70 that year. I'd say about 30 of them survived, and maybe I'm still being generous with those numbers, but it's okay, right? Because we have to keep doing this every year after year. We can't stop. But the cool thing is, when it comes to planting the trees, we just need to focus on the months that matter, establish the things that will work, and then spend the rest of the year hopefully eating, enjoying, finding out what our friends are growing, taking those seeds, putting them in a little nursery, and letting them get set up for the next rainy season. Again, there's just so much to be talked about here. There is so much to talk about here, and we're going to take our time. We're going to do this right, and my ADD might jump around and talk about other things, but trust me, trusting you, keep doing it, keep planting, love the process, and we'll be here together. And if you need some advice, Legacy Food Forest is about that. This is a big deal to me. It's something I really love to do, to talk about. I want this for people because it's not about us, right? Like, I'm sitting here humbly in a garden that hasn't really given back much. It's been a lot of my like nurturing. But when my children are here one day and they're climbing and eating, delighting in the wonders, that's what it's all going to be about. So join me in continuing this beautiful effort to plant paradise everywhere.